What's up, guys? It's Yeehaw, here today to do an updated build video since the meta has completely changed. Crit transfers have pretty much fallen off now. The only thing they're useful for is for people who stack their armor, which, as we all know, is lame. Anyway, so new build, Auto Axe. Bloodied Auto Axe meta is the shit, man. It's going to be the new meta, or we're hoping for it to be at least. There's still people running full health, but that is what it is. So we'll start with the axes I use. For full health, I use anti-armor, power attack, strength. We've tried the Bloodied. For some reason, damage numbers are not going up on the Bloodied. I think it's glitched right now. So anti-armor is the way to go for full health. We've tested both. Executioners for Bloodied all the way. Does the most damage. Tried everything else.
When you die,
power armor wise, I still use Strangler. I do believe most people do as well for the extra poison damage. I use emergency protocols as Bloodied. If you're going to be full health, I would recommend using motion assist servos. Don't use rebar or reactive plates. For some reason, they broke the shit out of those things last update, and they do so much fucking damage that it's impossible to fight people. You could spam 30 Qs and just one tap yourself on somebody. It just makes it impossible to fight, man. Honestly, like people like me, I just want to fight. So when I see somebody running rebar, I'll just leave immediately because it's like I'm not even gonna bother. You can't even fight them. Buffs, I do believe here, we'll retake. Yeah, I gotta retake them all. So I'll retake them and then I'll go over into the stats menu to show. I just be popping everything over here. So I suppress some of my mutations, not all of them. As you can see, there's some of them I need to get a couple of them out of my inventory, like Grounded. You don't need anymore. We were using that for the Electrified mod, and we're not using that anymore. We're using, speaking of which, we're using the Poison mod. Poison mod is the way to go. Electrified, I do believe, was nerfed last update, and Poison is whacking right now. Yeah, does a lot of fucking damage, man. Backwoods 6 for your magazines is always to amp those food buffs up. Melee bobbleheads, we were using energy with the Electrify, but since that's gone now, melee is the way to go. I'll show you mutations and what they suppress and stuff, because like I said, I only suppress some of my mutations, and those are basically the ones that are like going to give me negatives into strength and endurance, because I want my strength and endurance to be as high as possible. Those are going to be your two most important things in this build, because with your strength, if you can max your strength out, you're going to do the most damage you possibly can. And if you can max your HP or your endurance as high as possible, your HP is going to be super high, which is going to make you tankier. So for food buffs, we got Company Tea, which is going to give you 10% AP regen as a carnivore. If you're a herbivore, it gives you way more. But herbivore, I definitely don't think it's going to be meta for the melee, because with the damage buffs and shit, carnivore is definitely the way to go. But even 10% AP regen is better than nothing, especially if you like don't have any AP pieces. Cooked soft shell Mirelurk meat is max AP plus 60. It just gives you more AP room to move around with dodgy and fucking yeah. Cranberry meatball grinder, max HP plus 120, gonna make you more tanky. Deathclaw Wellington plus 9 strength, it's gonna give you more damage. If you're on a team, in a public team, in a world, it's gonna be a little bit higher. I do believe it's like 11.5 strength, just because you get your team buffs with strange numbers. But I'm in a custom world right now by myself, so it's gonna be just normal stat numbers on it. Mirelurk jerky, damage resistance plus 45. I don't really think that's super necessary, but helpful. Why not? Get it out of the smoked, or the fucking Mirelurk thing, Mirelurk steamer that you can get for your camp in the atomic shop. Rad Stag Stew is 105 energy resistance. Smoked Mirelurk Fillet isn't really necessary for PvP, I guess, but it's plus 90 carry weight, plus 112 if you're in a team. So that's super nice if you're walking around fat, carrying a lot of colas like I do. The lung. So I hate farming Scorch Beast. I've actually been looking for an alternative to foods, and I did find this one earlier today. I'm going to try to stack up on them. You can buy them from Yasmin right at your camp, get her as an ally. It gives you the same buff as the lung, 9 agility, Marlick soft shell cake. But you can buy it right from Yasmin at your camp if you have her as an ally, or you might be able to buy it from the White Spring Refugee. If you go in there, you take a left, go sit down at the fancy tables, robots will come up to you. But yeah, no, it's just annoying farming the lung, and honestly, I think the other one lasts longer, so I'm looking to get into that. The Yoguaya roast, in a team, I think it gives you like 312, something like that. Right now, it's only at 255, but either way, that's a huge amount. 255% more damage, that's huge, you know? So, you're not going to see the negatives, but these are all my mutations that I have. We'll go over to them, and like, here's some of them. Here, we'll do like scaly skin. So like, the negative of it is your AP is reduced. So obviously I suppressed that one, so I have more AP. Eagle eyes, my strength is reduced, so I suppressed that one. Strength and endurance are reduced for egghead, so I suppressed that one. You basically you're gonna want your strength as high as possible, and you can use other buffs too, like there's the weight bench. That one gives you +2 strength. And then if you're in a full team, like I said, I mean, your strength is going to be a lot higher. You take, I take berry mentats. You don't have to take berry mentats. All it's going to do is give you a pink glow around your target. It just kind of makes it easier to find your target. If you can't see, like me, half blind. But then Psycho Buff. Psycho Buff is going to give you 25% more damage, 3 strength, 3 endurance, and 65 max health for 3 minutes, which... shit, I mean, I couldn't even calculate it out probably if I wanted to, but 25% more damage and 3 strength, that's probably at least 30% more damage. And then you take your whiskey, which is 6 strength with Party Boy. If you don't have Party Boy on, it'll only be 2 strength. But with a mixture of 3 of those, without a team, I already ran my strength up to 45 as Bloodied. If I was in a team, I'd be well over 50. So those are the buffs, the axe, etc. You probably won't need any more than that. That's pretty much everything you're going to need. So let's go into the build. This is my build. Obviously, everybody's just going to be tweaked a little bit. Everybody in UDW has a little bit of a different build. Tiny bit of tweak to it, but mainly everything's the same. Obviously, all my slugger cards for strength. I see people run 2 stars in their slugger cards all the way up, and then they still run traveling pharmacy. I don't do that. I want the max damage I can get. I still am able to carry around a decent amount of Simpacts right away without an issue. Incisor, that's ignoring 75% of your target's armor, which is huge. That's that right there in the melee buff. That's like 300% more damage are going to be doing most of your damage. Because between the armor, ignoring the armor and the damage on top of it, I mean, the slugger cards and other damage additives obviously help, but those are going to be your main 2 that are going to do the most damage. Blocker. That's a huge one right there. You need this card if you're going to be fighting. Otherwise, you will get toasted. Refractor 1. I mean, obviously, you don't need this. There's nothing you really need for this build under Perception. That's the only reason I'm running it. I either swap it out for Butcher's Bounty if I'm looking for food, or I run that while I'm PvPing, because there is nothing else really that's going to help you under Perception in this build. Life Giver, just adding 45 to your maximum health. Obviously, that's going to help out. Chem Fiend 2, make your chems last longer. Cola Nut 2. Fireproof 3. Radical, which is going to add more to your strength if you're bloodied. If you're full health, you're not going to need this one. Lead Belly, keep from getting rads while I'm spamming colas. Again, if you're full health, you might not need this one. It depends if you're spamming colas or not, and if you use grapes or not. The only reason I don't use lead belly on my full health is because I have a mass supply of grapes that I use. Party boy, that's going to make your whiskey, your vodka, whatever, be stronger. Strange in numbers, that's going to help you in your team. These two right here. This is some big controversy right here. I've heard a lot of people say that these two cards don't work together, and I'm going to flat out say it. It's not true. Only one activates at a time. But how do I phrase it? Only one is going to activate. So I don't know, like, so since if you get hit first, or if you hit the person first, one or the other activates, I would have to do some testing on that. But I know for a fact they both work. We've tested it without Suppressor, we've tested with Lone Wanderer, we've tested with everything we can, and this combination right here seems to be the most tanky. So, I mean, you guys can obviously test however you want. I'm sure there's going to be some controversy there, you know, if Lone Wanderer works or not. I don't think it works. I've tested it. I really don't. I've tested these two together. I've tested without Suppressor. I've tested without Tenderizer, and I think this combination in Charisma right here is the best. Under Intelligence, I got Nerd Rage. You're not going to need that if you're not Bloodied, but if you're Bloodied, you're going to gain 20% damage, 15% AP regen, and 40% damage resistance. 2-star Power User. That's just going to make your fusion cores last longer. I used to run it at 3, along with Action Boy, which is over in agility. But I just recently got this nice card right here, Stable Tools, which is making my melee weapons break 25% slower. Really needed that, honestly. Axes break so quick. Everybody always told me to run it, and I just never did. I was stubborn. I just finally got it into my build. Action Boy 2, make your action points regenerate 30% quicker, and that comes down into Dodgy. So with Dodgy, you're avoiding 30% of incoming damage at the cost of 30 action points per hit. I hear a lot of people say they take Dodgy out of their builds because they're sick of it eating their AP, etc., etc. You need Dodgy. I'm telling you, you need Dodgy. Find a way to make your AP higher. Find a way to make your AP regen quicker, because that is a huge amount of damage you're avoiding. If you're, so to say, getting hit constantly, you know, you're avoiding 30%, 30%, 30% multiple different times. So make sure your AP is up there. Trust me. AP pieces, Action Boy, Company T, very helpful. Through Hikers, just to reduce weight of colas, food, etc. Born Survivor 1. Now, this isn't really necessary, so to say. It's more of just a cushion thing. At Bloodied, it's kind of annoying, because if you're PvEing, it'll just fucking burn your stim packs, because you're sitting at 20% if you're Bloodied. But, I mean, I don't know, man. It's a decent card. Like, it's a nice little cushion. There's been times it's just saved my ass just from that one stim pack. But is one stim pack really going to save you in reality? No, of course not. Secret Agent 2, that's just make your stealth boys last longer. We already went over Dodgy, that's a must. I'm telling you, it's a must. Bloody Mess, 15% more damage. Class Freak. I don't really need this, I guess, because I suppress all my mutations anyway, but while I'm PvEing, I don't suppress my mutations, so it's kind of annoying. Curator 1, just make your bobbleheads and mags last longer. Nice card, I think it adds 30 minutes on each. Starch Genes, Rads, will never cure mutations. Go to Assault, food in your inventory will spoil 90% slower. Again, not really one you probably need, especially with the cryo freezer around now. But it's, if you like to carry food on you, it's a nice card to have. So now we get into the legendaries. So I stack my strength. So what I do is I put 15 in strength off the bat, and I'll put all my cards in, and then we add the legendary strength on top of it. And you're not getting more room for cards, like you're not going to get any extra room to move cards around. You're still going to be stuck at 15, but it'll still amp up your strength. And for this build, you're going to want as much strength as possible. So we all max our strength cards out and stack them on top of the 15 strength. to get as much strength as possible. Now, you don't have to do that, obviously. It's a choice thing, but Funky Duds, extremely necessary right now with the poison mod being used. If you don't have Funky Duds on and you get hit with one of them poison axes, it's going to one-tap you through like 20 Qs. It's bad. Taking one for the team, pretty sure it still works. I haven't tested it recently, but I would assume it still works. And then I got my 3 legendary cards. So besides that, I'll show you guys my full health build quick. Just for the people who still run full health. Like I said, I run the motion assist servos usually when I'm full health. And the only thing that's different is instead of Lead Belly and Radical, I run Solar Powered and Knock Fortitude, which if you look at the 2 times, they're constantly rotating. So if Nocturnal Fortitude isn't active, then Solar Powered is active. If Solar Powered isn't active, then Nocturnal Fortitude is active. Always rotating through the 2, depending on the time. Then obviously I don't have Nerd Rage. I got my Born Survivor at 3, so it kicks in at 40%. I think that's the only 2 things that are different, honestly. I got my Thorn build too, but we can cover that at a different time once I roll it a little better. My Thorn right now isn't so hot. It's decent, but like that piece sucks. But yeah, we'll get into a video on that eventually. But that's all stats right there with all the buffs. Specials. Like I said, when you're in a public team, you're going to run it a lot higher too. When you take your drugs, it'll be a lot higher. But yeah, guys. I'd say that's about it. Auto Axe is definitely the new meta. Stop crit transferring. Unless you see somebody stack, crit transfer them. Crit them all you want. Alright, guys. Hope you take some tips from this.